You can miss some amazing unlocks in Assassin's Creed Shadows, the allies. Some are pretty well hidden in the open world, and by making the wrong choices, they will not join your team. So then you cannot use them for stealth or summon them into combat. And as I told you before, if you play in the canon mode, there's always one character that you cannot recruit, and I will tell you who that is and everything you need to know in this video. Starting with a stealth ally, Oni-Yuri, a summoner, and then she will appear close by and send a sleeping dart to the marked enemy, causing it to fall asleep. But the problem is that a nearby guard can then wake the guy up, so you really want to upgrade her for her full potential. After getting your first ally, you can build the dojo, and by upgrading it, you can have 2 allies with you at one time, and later upgrades to the building let you improve your allies to unlock brand new skills. So the second upgrade for Oni-Yuri makes her dart way more powerful, because if you catch a group of enemies, they will now all drop down and fall asleep. Even better, and this not noted in the skill description, is that when a guard now tries to wake them up, they will fall asleep too. So you can have this nice gathering of sleeping guards in the sun if you want. It's really fun to use her in her upgraded form. At level 3, it's noted that reinforcements are delayed in the event of an alarm. In our testing, it usually takes around 1 minute for the guardians to show up after someone rang the bell. But now with Oni-Yuri, it's 1.5 minutes. So that gives you more time to disappear or get what you were looking for and get out. You get her by starting the Sweet Lies quest over here on the map, and during these ally missions, you have to make choices. I of course want to keep them as spoiler free as possible, so I will only show you the dialogue option that you have to choose. Because if you make the wrong choice, the allies will not join your team. So for Oni-Yuri, it's easy because it's only one choice, and that's the one at the end, where you have to side with Nawe by saying I will show you. That way you can add her to your league. Ibuki is our first combat ally who will use a katana to simply fight alongside you, which is great when being overwhelmed with Nawe. But also here we want to go to the dojo to spend money on upgrades, because then Ibuki can do the strike of the Ronin when joining the fight. So immediately remove armor for one or multiple targets if you are lucky. Upgrading to rank 3 means that Ibuki can also use the attack during combat, but while the passive effect description says it's sadly not the case, as you will often just see Ibuki stand still and do nothing, and overall just take all the time in the world to attack. I'm curious if this is intended or if they still plan to improve this later on. Right now, he's totally one of the weaker allies. For recruitment, we want to go to Iga after having Yasuke unlocked, and then look for the quest called Ambush Interrupted. There are multiple choices that impact the recruitment. During your first conversation, you need to say that you have changed, and 5 civilians need to have survived the ambush during that mission. Later you have to say fight with us, Kyobe, and Kyobe also has to survive the fight against Nakatomi. That way you can add Ibuki to your roster. Now let's talk about one you will miss in the canon mode, but that is very good. And way more allies, of course. If you like the video so far, leave a like, that would really help me out. And subscribe for way more Shadows content like this. Gennojo is really amazing, but can be tricky to obtain. He's of course based on the actor McKenyu from the One Piece Netflix show, and is totally handy for stealth, because there are multiple ways to use him. By upgrading him, you unlock over here, and this means that whenever you have him as an active ally, he will throw a bomb to stun enemies if they were about to detect you. So they can just assassinate them and the whole camp won't be alerted. This also works on Samurai Daisho enemies, meaning that you can just walk up to them and assassinate them. But it's also amazing for the Roman Ronins, that after taking enough of them out, they will initiate combat when they see you, but now boom, they are stunned, you can insta-kill them. I got 2 next to each other here, which was very nice. The downside is though that this effect is on the same 5-minute cooldown as his active ability. And with this, you can choose yourself where the bombs will fall to stun particular enemies, so they can run up to them and assassinate them. Amazing against Samurai Daisho with Yasuke, because with his brutal assassination you can one-hit kill a lot of the health segments. So I hope they add a feature so we can disable passive abilities for the allies, because now Gennojo is always on a cooldown for me, because he is just throwing bombs whenever I'm about to get spotted, even though I could manage myself, or even though when the enemies are like very far away. When you have him as your ally, the servants will also not get any reinforcements, by the way, with the rank 3 upgrade. So he's great to make stealth easier all around. To get him, you want to go after the Bad Brother main quest target. They will encounter him in a forest. Don't kill him during this encounter, because then you cannot recruit him anymore. And then after taking out that main quest target, he will appear on the League objective board and you can go after him. there are two key moments that you have to look out for if you want to recruit him. At one point you have to say that you are all in, so do that. And the second one is important because this is a time limited choice. I think the only one in the game, at least from what I have seen so far. And you have to pick Stud here, because otherwise you also cannot recruit him. I made the wrong choice once and then went back to a previous autosave to do this section again. And this is also where it goes wrong in the cannon modes, because here Naue doesn't do anything and then cannot add him to her team. Katshushime is a combat ally who uses a Teppo from range to take out enemies and instantly apply the Daze effect. So now these targets cannot block your attack and will also sometimes miss their own attack, so really handy. At level 2 she throws a Daze bomb when you summon her that can hit multiple targets if they stand close to each other, so very nice. And with the final upgrade, her bullets ricochet of targets that are already dazed and then apply the Daze to a second target. Now you of course have to be lucky that she fires at an enemy with the Daze effect, because you cannot control that, but it's a really nice extra. Now it is smart to keep the enemies off her. She cannot die just like the other allies, but if enemies stand close to her, she will try and kick them away instead of using her Teppo. So it's nice to keep the aggro from the enemies so she can focus on her dazed shots. Together you need to go after this main quest target, and after completing that and the Requiem for Rokaku mission, you will see her show up on your objective board. Follow her side missions, and then at one point you will have to rescue her. Now if you watched the review, then you likely know that this is bugged for me. I cannot pick her up, so I hope they fix that. She could also die for me here when trying to save her with Yasuke, so be careful. But for Dennis it worked, and they can make the choice to have her join your league. Yagoro is a stealth ally and the real assassin of the group, because when you call him, he will assassinate the target you marked for him without causing you or him to be detected. If you upgrade him, he can do a chain assassination, so when you summon him, he will take out 2 targets. You have to wait a bit, but boom, then the other one goes down. The other target has to be close to the first one though for this to be a success. The final upgrade allows him to insta-kill enemies with 5 health chunks or less, while it's normally 3. Making him pretty good later in the game as well. I love using him with Yasuke if you want to do a more stealth run with your bow, although he does have, just like all the other allies, a 6-minute cooldown. So you can only use him once or twice during your infiltration. To be able to see his mission, you need to have completed the Fox main target, do all the flashbacks for Naue through the meditation activity, and reach a very cool coven for her personal questline. When you know, you know. Then head over here on the map to see the quest A Blade in the Dark. In order to recruit Yagoro, you have to win the duel against him and take out the target that he is after. But if you lose the duel, you have a second chance. If you lose again, you cannot recruit him, so be careful. Yaya is the ally you can get first, but that does seem to be the reason why later in the game she's not very useful. Like against early game enemies like bandits, even with the level scaling, she does a great job, but when you summon her in a later game fort, she rarely does any damage or take out enemies. Although this also might have to do with AI issues, because sometimes she just stands still, does nothing, so she's kinda useless. So maybe if they fix that, she becomes more useful. At level 2 she has a nice entrance, immediately knocking an enemy prone, and at level 3 she can do a kick similar to Yasuke, and if you line it up correctly, she can kick enemies off the edge, which is very funny. But overall, she's really great early game. Not great later on, at least at the time of this recording. You meet her during the main mission very early on, where you already have to make an important choice and you want to side with her. After completing the target, you will see her show up on the objective board and can do the side quest for her. Focus on the choices where you forgive people, and then you can add her to your team. If you make one wrong choice, you can still add her to your team. Of course, subscribe for way more Assassin's Creed Shadows content. If there's something you want to see, let me know in the comments, and we might make a video on it in the future. A like would really help me out, and check out our previous video with amazing things you want to get early by clicking on the screen. I will speak to you very soon. Goodbye.